Y'all thought you were real funny with this one. Oh, I'm laughing, man. Really, say that joke again. Anytime you see this, you pretty much know that one of those videos got copyright striked. I did try to break that up with some kind of weird edits though. Anyway, on to the video.
The Gorillaz in the house, I got the fresh new album featuring the hits Clint Eastwood the 19-2000.
After the release of Plastic Beach in 2010, Gorillaz were in an incredibly promising spot. They just followed up Demon Days with an album that's just as good, if not better. And I mean, that's really saying something. Demon Days is a masterpiece. Its overall feel and aesthetic, the great lyrics and theming, the features, the additions to Gorillaz' lore. Gorillaz knocked it out of the park yet again, so their next album was bound to be a highly anticipated release. In the few years after Plastic Beach, we got this.
Here is our tree that primitively grows.
Let's just say a lot of people didn't know how to feel. Yet hopes were still high, and everyone anticipated the day that Gorillaz would release their next masterpiece. And we got Humanz. There's a lot to why I think this record failed to deliver. It's an album with a fair share of fantastic moments, but they're sandwiched between some of the lowest moments in the band's career. But that's enough background info. Let's dive into Humanz. It doesn't really feel like a Gorillaz album. When I think of Gorillaz musically, I always think about their mix of influences. Their debut is a mix of hip-hop, rock, and electronica that just feels organic. Despite these changes in styles, it all just comes together. Demon Days is the same way. There's a wide variety of influences there. Dare's disco and funk elements can't be denied. Kids with Guns is a great little alternative song. Fire coming out of the monkey's head feels incredibly unique as a spoken word piece. Plastic Beach is also varied. It's definitely more electronic than any of their previous albums, but its implementation of world music alongside pop and hip-hop creates an incredibly unique feel that truly benefits it. Each release feels like a crossroads of sorts, where genres can meet and intermingle to create something great. Humanz has elements of that, but I think it could have went further. I definitely hear more of an R&B influence here, but other than that you have hip-hop and electronica, and I really don't know what I would classify Hallelujah Money as. I don't know, something about this just doesn't feel as adventurous as the other albums. I feel like I've already heard these combinations before. Plastic Beach opened up with an orchestra and Snoop Dogg. White Flag is Bashi and Kano with the National Orchestra for Arabic Music. M1A1 is on a trip-hop album. Fire coming out is poetry. Humanz just doesn't have those standout moments. And I think overall that's a bad thing. It's a Gorillaz album with no real ambition outside of its strange aesthetic. It doesn't even feel like the band is on this record. They're a virtual band that blur the lines between reality and fiction. When I hear Damon sing on these records, I don't envision Damon singing them, I see 2D. You know what I mean? You can picture the band creating these songs. Yet on Humanz, I feel like they barely get featured. 2D is the only one with any sort of priority, but even then, he's usually backing vocals. Instead, our focus is put onto the featured artists. That's always been a part of Gorillaz music, but I've never seen it taken to such an extreme. Busted in Blue is the only song with no sort of guests on it. Everything else is overly reliant on the features, and it just doesn't feel like a Gorillaz album because of that. The songs themselves aren't that good either. I genuinely believe Moments is one of the most annoying songs ever written. As far as I'm concerned, that song is a crime against humanity. We Got the Power is energetic, but it makes me want to jump off a cliff. Sex Murder Party, Jesus. This doesn't even sound finished. There's also these interludes that really don't add anything to the album. They exist for a thematic purpose, but that's about it. Even then, if they weren't on the album, you wouldn't have lost anything. Most of the time, the songs are just horrifically bad or just pointless. There are some great moments, though. I know I've kind of made fun of Hallelujah Money throughout this entire video, but I really love it. It's so strange, but I think that's why it works. Benjamin Clementine's vocals on this are unique, the beat is cool, the strange shifts in tone add a lot, the weird choir vocals are interesting. I'm not sure how people feel about it now, but I remember a lot of people criticizing it when it came out. Maybe that's why he's not really happy about it. But I think it's a really strong and unique track, and it's probably one of my favorite Gorillaz songs. Ascension is a banger. Vince Staples is giving it his all here, the beat is top tier, and 2D's added vocals in the bridge are cool as well. What a great track to open the album with. Submission with Kelela and Danny Brown is also fantastic. Kalela's vocals are great, Danny's section is one of the best moments on the album, the instrumental is chill but amazing, the sampled vocals are unexpected but are a good addition nonetheless. God, I love this track. Yet even with these highlights, I still think that a majority of this album is skippable. Did the album really need 20 tracks too? I mean, it just keeps going on and on. But that's only on the standard version. The deluxe edition adds 6 more songs and only one of them is good, that song being Out of Body. So with the music out of the way, let's talk about something else. Humanz is political by design. Ever since Demon days, the band has talked about political issues. The environment, war, greed, consumerism, school shootings, and more have all been covered by the band in ways that are unique. There's a subtlety to it, even if they are a bit more upfront with their meaning. They don't have to tell you who's wrong or who's corrupt, because the song is able to convey its meaning in a way that won't feel dated in 10 years. Humanz was released in 2017, the beginning of the Trump presidency. That made it the perfect time for Gorillaz to say something of note, and Humanz says nothing. Humanz tries to say something about the Trump presidency and the overall panic people are in. Yet what it says is so basic that I can't gain any insight from it. It says nothing more than things are bad, but hope and love win in the end. Demon Days had a similar message, but here's the thing. The album's constantly showing us the evils of humanity. By the end, you've gone over a ton of topics, and this leads to the title track. It's the only song with any sort of uplifting message. The album is so dark, and it ends on this beautiful moment. A message that says we shouldn't give in to fear. A message that says we should improve our own lives. It's powerful. Yet Humanz doesn't really show that. I think the album thinks it's darker than it actually is. Yet in reality, it has a lot more upbeat moments than I was actually expecting, which makes this ending more cliche and unnecessary. This album is really blatant with its references.
And out of the elephant's trunk, confetti.
Gee, I wonder what that's about. The Apprentice, oh, that could be about anybody. Now, in a move that would only make sense to literal earthworms, Damon Albarn decided to censor the names Obama and Trump.
We mourn, I'm praying for my neighbors. They say the devil's at work and is calling favors.
There's no references to Trump on the record. In fact, anytime when anyone made any reference, I edited it out. Edited. I don't want to give the most famous man on earth any more fame particularly. He doesn't need it. I get what he's saying, but why are the other references fine? It's incredibly easy to connect the dots. Sure, it's not his name, but it's his political party and his past. I don't know, he's not fooling anyone with this. And like I said, they were much more subtle about this stuff before. Don't tell me they couldn't find a better way to do it. Humanz is not a conventional protest album against the American president as much as a party record for the apocalypse that his reign might ultimately lead to. Okay, but that causes its own issues. Does it want to be this fun little party record, or does it want to actually say something? It's not a great party record because I'm telling you, it is not fun to listen to all this. Like, if I was out and I heard...
Yeah, see, we going. Sex murder. Sex party.
I'd be out of there. And if it's trying to be a good protest record, it doesn't work. Maybe because it doesn't even want to commit to its own cause. It's interesting how Damon would try and cover his tracks with the next few projects. Sleeping Powder has no features at all and has 2D front and center. The same thing kinda goes for the Now Now, which only has 2 songs with any sort of guest. Not to mention it abandons the political stuff. Song Machine also seems like another step away from the band's 4th phase. I think they're in a really great spot right now. And sure, I miss what they did on Plastic Beach and Demon Days. But the band has always been open to change. I'm glad they're constantly changing their sound. Maybe one day they'll return to the more dark and political stuff. But right now, I'm just glad they're making great music.
see the perpetrator. Yeah, I'm right here. Fuck around, get the whole label sent up for years. Tight profile, low, like 8 and paid in full. Attract heavy cash, cause the game's centrifugal, Mr. Fantastic.
I'm just playing, baby, this the land of the free. Where you can get a Glock in the gram for the cheap. Where you can live your dreams long as you don't look like me. Be a puppet on a string hanging from a fucking tree. The sky's falling, baby, drop that